Hey guys, it's Cece, and it is Friday around 1 p.m. Eastern, and I don't know if perhaps you've been following along. I'm working on this project that I'm really excited about, and I decided that instead of doing just one tutorial, I'm going to kind of post my steps, photos and or videos on Facebook and YouTube so that you can follow along the progress of this project. So far, where we're at is, hold on one second. So far where we're at is, maybe you saw the pictures. This was a desk, a little desk, so I'm next to it. You can see how small it is. It's a very young adult or preteen, maybe a very small woman, petite woman sized desk, and it had this little opening here. I added this backer board out of some plywood, and then I found these little storage cubes at the craft store for like $2, and I was making little trinket boxes, kind of like jewelry boxes with them, and I thought, how can I get more storage on this desk that I'm turning into a vanity? And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to see if these little cubes fit. So they fit, and it's kind of neat because you see those old antique vanities that have the two little storage areas on the side and then a mirror in the middle. So I have a mirror that is going with this, and so that's kind of where I'm going with that. And then last night, kind of late, a little bit late, later than I want to admit, I stayed up and I did the drawers that go in these little cubes. See, they slide in just like that. And there's 4 of them. So I stayed up last night and I finished those. I'm going to be putting molds all over this piece, and I poured those out of resin. Normally I attach my molds to my piece and then I paint it and finish it out and all that. For this particular piece, I wanted to attach the molds last or after paint, I don't know if I'm going to seal before or after I attach the molds, but I'm going to attach the molds after because I wanted to paint them a really nice, bright blingy gold, which I did so with a, it's called 24 karat pure gold spray. It's not actually pure gold to my knowledge, but that's the name of it. It's what the color is called. And it's the only metallic spray paint that I will use because it creates the most brilliant gold finish. I find that a lot of times Krylon and Rust-Oleum spray paints, they're a little dulled. They're more brushed looking. They're not very brilliant like an actual true gold. Look at the true shiny gold. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. I'm working on this sweet vanity, and I don't know if you've been following along. Hey John. Hey Tom. Hey, I don't know if you've been following along, but this project is going to be, it's on its way to getting pretty cool. But these are my resin poured molds. I used a quick set, Amazing Cast quick set resin. It sets in 10 minutes. So I poured those last night and they set up, and I cleaned them up, and then I painted them with this really brilliant gold. It's by Design Masters, and it's called 24 karat gold. I use that on almost every single project. I always use it on my hardware. Besides liquid gold leaf, it's the only metallic spray or anything I use on my hardware. So that's the molds. I'm going to attach those towards the end. So that's kind of like the icing on the cake. But anyways, so today, whatever time I have, I'm going to squeeze in painting out the rest of the little cubby drawers. And if I have time, I'm going to get to the second coat on the body. I'm going to be blending it with In the Navy, which is a dark navy blue, true navy blue from Dixie Belle, and Bunker Hill blue, which is like this cool royal blue. I don't want to call it bright, but very rich. So I'm going to be doing a blended scheme of that. So I painted the top desk area in the Bunker Hill blue, and the legs, which I don't think you can really see them, but the bottoms of the legs are in Bunker Hill blue, and then I'll blend all of that into In the Navy. I don't know if we'll get to that today, but we're going to try it. But right now, we're going to go ahead and paint out the rest of these drawers. So I posted a video earlier of me No, I posted pictures. It wouldn't let me post a video and pictures. But in the comments is a video of me painting I painted the insides of the drawers, and then I did an ombre on the outsides. So this is the front. I didn't paint the front yet. So the sides are an ombre of peony to barn red, which are also Dixie Belle paint colors. And then I'm going to, towards the end of this project, I'm going to line the inside of the little cubbies. And then today we're going to put some cheetah on our super bright draw sides. My goal with this project was to have fun and pay attention to all the little details. I want to go overboard without going overboard, if that makes sense. So I want to go overboard without being tacky. Gaudy, but not tacky. So it's very Betsy Johnson inspired, if you know who Betsy Johnson is. She's a designer, and she has lots of bright colors and leopard print and bows and flowers. So it's kind of my inspiration for this piece. Maybe a little bit toned down from Betsy Johnson. But anyways, so that is where I'm at with this piece. Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, even if it's just for a second, and saying, hey, I know everybody is stuck at home and with the kids and all this stuff. So we're going to have some fun, even if it's just for 40 minutes. So I've got all my little cubbies. The draw sides are painted and the insides. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to tape off the fronts of the drawers, and we're going to blend those to match the body. So we're going to do Bunker Hill blue towards the centers and the navy on the edges, and then blend that. We'll let that dry, and then we're going to add our cheater to the sides. So these little boxes come from, like I said, the craft store, and they're raw wood. So they take the paint really well. I've only been doing one coat, and it's been taking it and covering really well. So they're not your typical drawer from a piece of furniture. They don't have the, the sides where you can just kind of paint to the edge. I mean, they do have an edge, but the edges are flush with the sides. So I'm going to tape them off so I can get a nice, clean, crisp line from my blue to my pink. Well, hopefully a nice, clean, crisp line. Hi, Sally. Good morning. I guess it is morning where you are, huh? That reminds me, I haven't had coffee yet today. And I'm still going. I'm alive. So I'm going to tape off the edges. Kind of like a typical drawer would be. You're going to see a little bit of that blue from the face onto the sides. So the way these drawers sit in the little cubby, they're flush with the front. So I painted about an inch inside of my little cubby drawer area, cabinet area. I painted about an inch inside so that when these are inside and flush, you don't see a little wooden line around the edge. It's just a little extra precaution. And for the same reason, I'm painting about 1/8 of an inch of my sides with the blue, so that when it's flush in its little spot, you can't see the pink around the edges, which I guess could be kind of cool, but I don't want the pink to show. I want it to be a surprise. It's a surprise on the inside. Who doesn't like a surprise, especially a pink and red one? So I got my tape on, and I'm just going to go and tape all of these up real quick. I like to use blue painter's tape. I know a lot of people like frog tape. I'm not a huge fan of frog tape, but it's probably due to user error. I can never get it to stick. And I've heard like different things like, oh, you're supposed to get it wet, this and that, which I have not tried. But I was a fail the first time I tried on my on my own devices, and I didn't get it, so now I'm like, I don't want to use frog tape. But I'm sure it was a user error. I'm sure frog tape is amazing. But I like to use the blue clean release or easy release tape from Duck or 3M. This one's 3M, but I like the Duck brand as well. And I just want to burnish the edges of my tape with my finger. Burnish just means rub it in really good. So I get a nice, clean, crisp line. I don't want any seepage of paint underneath there. That would be meh. We can fix it, but it's not ideal. All right, so we got 2 down, 2 more to go. And then, so as you can see on the front, there was these little wooden cheapy fake knob thingies that came on the little cubbies. And I just popped those off with some pliers. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ruin the surprise. I probably shouldn't. I have got my molds that I poured last night and painted in the pretty gold. I'm gonna use those as backing plates for my knobs. So I'm gonna put them right over those little holes. I'm not gonna fill them in with mud or anything. I'm just gonna put them right over that and then put drill a hole and put my hardware in there. So I'm pretty excited about these little draw cubbies. Like I said, I've been using them to make little trinket boxes, like little mini teeny jewelry boxes, but this is the first time I've used it on an actual real piece of furniture. So I thought I was pretty clever for thinking of that. It was really random and kind of last minute because I was going to build drawers, which would have taken quite a bit longer, and I'd still probably be cursing away working on those. But I had these, and they were perfect, so yay! Yay! I try to be as resourceful as I can with the things that I have on hand. All right, so there's my third little draw taped off, and then my last one. Last but not least, we're going to tape off this little draw. And then we're going to paint them. Paint them and transfer them. And then we'll see what kind of time we have. I'm rocking and rolling right along on this project. A lot of people always say, you don't sleep. How do you work so fast? Blah, blah, blah. You get so much done. I get that a lot. I do sleep. I do work fast. But I also work like it's my 9-to-5 job, and then sometimes at night when the kids are sleeping as well. So, you know, I guess since it's my job, it makes sense that I get a lot done during the day because I'm a good worker. I should give myself a raise. I'm gonna ask my boss for a raise. I think it's time. My boss is, she's kind of crazy though. She's crazy. Okay, my last little cubby's taped off. Okay, so now we're going to paint with our Bunker Hill blue right in the centers, and for that I'm using a Dixie Belle synthetic brush in the flat medium version. I really like the brush. It's a perfect size for like bigger surfaces. It's also the perfect size for smaller surfaces. It's just that nice tweener size. It's good for, you know, one size fits all almost. So I'm really a huge fan of the flat medium lately. And then of course I like the flat aspect for getting, you know, the lips of the drawer, you know, the little lip edge of the cubbies and drawers and things like that. So flat medium synthetic brush from Dixie Belle has got it going on. That's where it's at. I highly suggest that you give it a shot, especially if you're in the market for some new brushes. They're super easy to clean, and since they're synthetic, they're very good at minimizing brush strokes. So that is one big difference between natural bristle and synthetic, is the brush stroke aspect. So I am using those for both colors. And this is what the flat medium looks like. Boom. And I'm going to go ahead and get both of my paint colors and brushes handy because I'm going to be blending the drawers. So I'm going to not have a whole lot of time, and I'm going to have to blend fairly quickly since it is raw wood, and it'll soak in and dry on me real quick. So I have my mister bottle on hand too, just in case it dries up on me and I got to give it a little mist. I've also got a blending brush, which I'm using the Dixie Belle the Belle. That's what this is called. I totally dig this for blending small things, smaller surfaces or small things like these drawer fronts. It's the perfect size for blending. This is a natural bristle brush, but that's okay. We're not going to hold that against it. I do like it. They do tend to shed, so I do suggest that if you get the Belle, you might want to condition it first, which to condition it, just get you some dish soap or brush cleaner and just really dig in there and loosen up those loose hairs and get them out of there so they don't wind up in your paint. That's the best way to condition a brush that I know of. So let's dig in and grab a little bit of Bunker Hill blue on our brush, and we'll start with this straw, and I'm just going to paint it like right in the middle. So maybe kind of a circly shape, doesn't matter, circle, square, whatever kind of shape. but just right in the middle, like that. And then, let's see, if you have any questions, just holla. I'm going to be trying to work so we can move along and move on to the next step, but I do want to answer your questions. If I miss any, I'll try to go back later and address those. So, yes, Bunker Hill is a really pretty blue. I don't get to use it near quite enough. I can't talk today. I haven't had my coffee. You wouldn't know it, right? Except that I look like I haven't had my coffee. Ugh. Somebody bring me coffee now. Okay, so now I'm going to load up my other flat medium with a little bit of In the Navy, which is like the perfect navy. Also from Dixie Belle. I'm going to go across my little guy here up top first, gently, so that I don't get that in my peony inside the drawer. So got my little lip there, and then I'm just going to go around the other edges that I taped off. I'm going in the direction of the tape, okay? When I tape something off, I like to paint in the direction of the tape, because if you paint against the tape, that will increase your chances of getting the bleed or seepage underneath, squeezing through underneath your tape, and we don't want that. That's why we tape it off. So I'm going to go and get my edges real quick, going with the direction of the tape, like I said. Okay, so now I'm going to do a little outline of around my Bunker Hill, basically. So I'm just going to go around. I'm going to go around the base of the cube with my darker color. I like to put my lighter colors in the middle and my darker colors on the outside, because I just feel like a blend looks more natural that way. The darker colors create like a shadowing. Okay, so now I've got my little outline of In the Navy. I'm going to take my Belle brush, which is dry and clean, and I'm just going to kind of go around in a few circly motions to blend those two blues together, and that's it. I can mess with it and perfect any weird strokes that I have if I want to, but it's such a small surface and these blues blend so well, you really only need to just kind of go around it a couple times to get those colors to blend together. I know it's wet, so it's kind of hard to see. I'll show you again when it's dry here in a second, but see how easily those colors blend? Can you see that? I'm trying not to catch the reflection, but it's not working. I'll show you when it's dry so it doesn't reflect. I'm going to throw it under the fan here. I got a little fan going to dry my paint so we can move on with the drawers. I'm going to go ahead and wipe that paint that I just blended off of my blending brush so that I don't contaminate my next blend with that extra paint. Alright, so same thing on the next one. I'm just going to paint in the middle here. Okay, and don't have to get too crazy. And then I'm going to go around my edges, painting with the grain, with the grain of the tape, with the direction of the tape, as to not squeeze any paint underneath my tape, my blue painter's tape. All right. So now that we've got our edges all done, see our edges? I'm not doing the bottom. I mean, that's kind of pointless. No one will see it, so I'm not doing the bottom. All right, so now I'm going to, just like I did on the last one, I'm just going to create kind of an outline around my lighter blue, my Bunker Hill. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle or a perfect outline. You just, want that darker color on the edges and the corners. And then I'm just going to blend by just circling the colors together. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And that's it. See how easy they blend? And yes, this is a smaller surface, and the colors are similar enough to where they blend fairly easy, but in essence, blending really is just that. It's easy strokes, not too many, not excessive strokes. When it boils down to the basics of blending, less is more, and you don't want to overthink it. So this is a good starter project if you're wanting to practice your blending. Just a little trinket box or jewelry box or something. Not necessarily this whole big old crazy project I'm working on, but something small like that, you know. All right, third box. I'm so digging the blues with the pinks. What do you think about my blues with the hot pinks and the reds? Isn't that kind of crazy little color pop, my contrasting color pop? All right, so again, box number 3. I'm gonna go around my edges gently so that I don't get tapes or paint squeezing underneath my tape. And then this side here. Okay, with the direction of the tape again. Okay, so now I'm gonna go around the face of my drawer, right around that bunker hill. We're just gonna outline our bunker hill basically, you know? Give it a hug. We're hugging the bunker hill blue with the in the navy. In the navy are so sweet. Such a kind color. Likes to give hugs. And then we just go around in a swoop. I'm gonna wipe off my brush. And then another couple little quick swoops to get those colors blended together. Pick out the hairs from our brush. And that be it. Can you see the shadowing on the edges from in the navy? Okay, we've got one more, and then hopefully those will be dry enough we can pull off our tape and at least start to transfer the first box or two. Okay, so I don't see any burning questions or comments, so I'm gonna keep on keeping on. All right, last box here, okay? And like I said a little bit ago, I am gonna line these. So I painted the inside. I'm gonna line the bottoms of the drawers with I don't know what I'm gonna line them with. Maybe velvet, maybe a black and white print, maybe some paper. I really like to line drawers with fabric as opposed to paper. I'm not a huge fan of decoupaging paper, mostly because it's not really that easy. Oops, wait. I'm talking and I started doing the wrong color on the edges. But it's okay. I'm gonna fix it. I like to line drawers with fabric. Because it is obviously easy to find in a million different patterns and colors, so you can always find something to match. B, a nice quality, thick fabric that you would want to use to line a drawer with is not very expensive. So you can get a whole yard for, you know, a few bucks with a coupon, maybe even a couple bucks. But let's just call it like $6 or $7 for a whole yard, which is usually enough for a whole project. So I like to use fabric. It looks better. It doesn't bubble. The wrinkles smooth out much easier. You can still seal fabric just like you do paper. And I just think it looks nicer than paper. Plus, did I say it's cheaper? Okay, so now I'm going to use my in the navy on my edges. That was a close call. I screwed up there. But I fixed it. It's all good. Okay. I'm get my edges going with the direction of the tape. Sorry for all the repetition, but some people are just hopping on and they may have missed the other drawers that I was painting. So I painted the middle in Bunker Hill Blue. Now I'm going to go around the edges with my in the navy, which is just a darker blue. Navy, clearly. I'm just going to outline that. Or give it a hug. Hug the Bunker Hill Blue within the navy. Easy peasy. And then take my bell brush and just go around a couple times to blend those two colors nice and blended. Okay, I'm gonna throw just gonna throw a tiny bit more Bunker Hill in the middle of this guy. I feel like the in the navy maybe hugged the Bunker Hill a little too hard. So I'm just going to add a little bit more Bunker Hill. Okay, and then go back to just blending by going around a couple easy strokes, wiping off my brush, a couple easy strokes, just like that. See? Cool? Okay, so the pink little drawer, I love these pink and red drawer sides. They just make me so happy when I look at them. It's going to be such a nice surprise anytime someone opens a drawer and there's like, boop, pop of pink. Who doesn't need a pop of pink in times like this, you know? We're in a very interesting time, and I hope everyone's staying safe. I'm doing my best to entertain and educate how I can while everyone is stuck at home. So watch it or don't, but I'm here for you. All right, so I am done with my brushes. I'm going to put those away. I think that our first box is probably dry enough to do the transfers on the side, so that's what we're going to do. I don't know that we'll make it to the blending the body of this bad boy, but I'll do a little time lapse or something like that of the process. If you want to see blending videos, you can check out my YouTube page, or I posted yesterday a compilation of links to different techniques in regards to furniture art and blending. I think I put 6 or 7 video links to a couple different kinds. I always use the same technique when I'm blending. I just kind of like honed it in when I was learning and practicing, and what worked for me and what didn't. So I didn't invent blending by any means, but everyone has a little bit different of a technique. And so you just have to find the one that works for you, or you know, a mix of all of them, and come up with it, you know, one that works for you. But anyways, if you want help with the blending, I posted some links yesterday in a compilation post of all the different links. But so we probably won't get to this today, but I'm just going to be blending it like I do in most every other video. So if you want to see that, you can find another video or wait for the time lapse. All right, I'm going to shut up, put my paint away, and we're going to be using Cheetah on our peony pink sides. Cheetah. Because who doesn't need a pop of pink and Cheetah? I was going to hand paint the Cheetah, and then I remembered I had a Cheetah transfer, so I'm like, hey, you know, efficiency is my middle name. Okay, so for my transfer process on the sides of the drawers, all I need is my handy dandy transfer tool, which I don't really technically need because the transfers come with a little wooden stick that you can use as a transfer tool. But I like to use my transfer tool because I'm bougie like that. And I just actually really like it because it's nice, hard, rigid plastic, and it makes it really easy to get the transfer to adhere. So I'll show you what that looks like. I also need scissors. And I'm going to grab a sharp blade knife or X-Acto, again, sharp. So I'm going to go ahead and snap off to my next sharp blade. I don't know when the last time I used this was, so I'm going to snap off to my next sharp blade. When you're working with transfers, you want to use a sharp blade, okay? No butter knives, no old dirty crusty blades. You'll just drag your transfer, ruin it, and then cry and be like, what's wrong with the transfer? Why did it do that when I cut it? Well, you didn't use a sharp blade. Sharp blade. Transfer, scissors, and this is the stick that comes with the transfer for application. It works just fine. But this is my fancy transfer tool. It looks like a mermaid, a double-ended mermaid tail. And it's got this little hook on the end for going around drawer edges or curves or bevels. And it's got the big end and the small end. I usually use the small end. I like it better, but you know, sometimes I use the big end. So we're gonna grab our first draw, and it is dry pretty much. There are a few little spots that could dry a little bit more, but it's dry to the touch enough for us to apply our transfers to the sides. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my tape off and show you my beautiful crisp lines that we created with our blue painter's tape on the edges. Remember, that was all just one flush piece of flat wood. Now it's got a nice little separation, and it's got a little lip on the edge. So when I put it in the cubby, the pink doesn't show around the edge. So there's that. And I'm gonna go ahead and get my transfer out, and hopefully I have enough for all these cubbies, because I be using the cheetah print transfer like it's going out of style. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little section of my transfer first. So I'm just going to cut out a little piece. You can measure it. So I think this is 3.5 by 3.5 inches. You can measure it and apply it to size. That would be the smart thing to do. But I left my paper cutter at work, at the shop. So I'm just going to cut a little, the best I can, a 90-degree angle here. And then I'm going to line it up on my side just like this. I'm going to line it up where I want it. See, make sure it fits on my draw. I'm going to remove the backing paper slowly and expose the adhesive. And then I'm going to line up very, very carefully my straight edges here. So on this side and the top, where my straight edge, no, just kidding. This way, I'm gonna line up my edge to that little, I'm gonna line up my edge to the little tape line that we made. I'm gonna line up my top. Once I'm pretty confident that's where I wanna place it, I'm just gonna press it on with my hand and try to get it to start adhering. At least adhere it enough so that we can take our sharp blade, and then I'm going to cut gently around the very edge. So I'm going to cut off the excess here, just like that. Hold on. This is hard to do backwards. See how I just cut off the edge? I'm going to save that little piece in case I need it. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the back. I'm going to cut off this little back piece here. Gently so you don't scratch your paint. Boom. So, since I forgot my paper cutter at the shop, I don't need it. I just cut a circle. A square. Easy peasy. See? Ooh, look how cool that's going to look. So I got my little transfer tool. I'm just going to rub on my transfer because that's how it applies. You rub it with some pressure. Not going to lie, you need a little bit of pressure to get them on there. But since we're all muscly people, it's no problem. And I'm gonna make sure you rub all over your entire transfer with your whichever tool you decide to use. Just use it well. And once I'm pretty confident that I have gotten the whole thing rubbed, I'm gonna pick a corner and start to peel up slowly. Well, you know, we learn our lessons the hard way sometimes, but I'm glad it turned out good, your transfer application. Yes, hot pink and cheetah is the jam. I don't think that I will ever get tired of hot pink and cheetah. I mean, probably not. Okay, so you peel, and then see how my little transfer that's not sticking right there. I'm just going to put my backing paper back down, and I'm going to give it another rub and get it on there better. Do better than I did the first time. So now it's sticking. And we almost made it. But voila, transfer on. So now that it's on there, I'm gonna take my, sometimes I use the palm of my hand, sometimes I use my thumb, sometimes I use my middle finger, whatever you use. You wanna go around the edges and over your transfer to make sure it's burnished on there really well, and burnish is just a fancy word for rub. I like to press it, pop any bubbles that possibly might have occurred. I like to pop any bubbles, smooth out any wrinkles with, like I said, my finger or the palm of my hand. You can use the palm of your hand. Just like that. But you want to make sure your edges are completely down and on there. So that is it for the transfer application process. It's super easy, easy peasy. And I'm going to seal these cubes before I put my molds on them. Remember the molds I'm going to put in the middle that I painted? I'm going to seal these cubes in including the inside. I'm going to seal these cubes in Dixie Belle's Clear Coat and Satin because I like the satin finish. I love satin finish. Not a huge fan of gloss. Not a huge fan of flat. I like satin because I'm like, what is that, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It's like just right. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side of my cube. So I'm going to grab, I'm going to go ahead and cheat and use this right angle here that's already there for me. And I'm going to cut off that excess. See that excess, those edges, that like ½ inch that has no print. I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off. So I have a nice clean straight edge. And I can line it up to the edge of my drawer a little easier. Same with this side. I'm going to cut that off. Don't have to. I just am. And then I'm going to cheat and use this little edge. And I'm going to line that up to the edge of my cube. And then I'm just going to kind of cut roughly. I'm going to cut roughly about the size that I need. And then I'll go around it with my sharp blade to make sure the size is nice and exact. But I'm just going to cut out about the amount that I need. And there's a few ways to skin the cat. So like you don't have to do it this way. Like I said, I usually use a paper cutter and that's much more precise and less wasteful. But I don't have that with me. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to peel my backing paper off. Maybe possibly if I can get it off. There we go. Boom. Little cheetah square. Okay, and just like we done on the other side, I'm going to line up my, let's see. I'm going to line up my right angle with our little tape line here. So I'm just bringing it right up to where our blue line starts. See that? And then I lined up the top edge too. So now all I have to do is cut off these two edges instead of all 4 edges or all 4 sides. So again, sharp blade is your best friend in this situation. Boom. It's easier to lay it down to do it. It's hard doing it, holding it up for the camera. Makes it much more difficult and awkward. Okay, so I cut off the edges. Now I'm going to take my transfer tool and I'm going to go all over it, rub it on with my transfer tool. Oh, I just love this. Cheetah. Cheetah is like a neutral to me. It literally matches everything. Again, kind of hard to rub this on holding it up for the camera, but you know, it's all good. It's doable. All right. Once you're confident that you've rubbed it all on there pretty well, peel it back slowly. If you didn't get it as well as you think, just put your backing paper back down and give it another good rub. We're in pretty good shape on this one though, just a couple little stubborn spots. Boom. All right, and then I'm gonna take my thumb and I'm gonna go around the whole transfer, including the edges, burnish the edges, make sure they're down really well, and then release any wrinkles or bubbles that may have happened. And then once I got that on there nice and good and well and Now I can seal this bad boy. I'm going to seal this bad boy and then put his little medallion mold on. And then drill a hole and put my hardware in there. So that's my little cubby cube. Process is the same for a big dresser drawer or a full-size furniture, drawer. But we're working on these little cubby guys today. So there's that. I'm going to do the same thing to the rest of the little drawers. And then I'm going to move on to blending the body of my desk turned vanity. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll go back and I'll make sure I answer them. But pretty straightforward, blending, transferring. And I hope you all stay safe. It's Friday, so have an amazing weekend. And I will see you Sunday at 8 p.m. on the Dixie Belle Paint Company main page if you want to join me. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to be doing yet. It's going to be a surprise. Surprise. Anyways, have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.